Hello, my name is Charlie Nicklin. This series of 5 videos takes you through the process of achieving professional registration. The process is actually pretty straightforward and a lot less daunting than people imagine. In this first video, I'll talk about professional registration, what it is and why you'd want to do it. I'll give you an overview of the whole process, what's involved and the timescales. In video 2, I'll talk in more detail about the application process, educational requirements and competencies. I'll also cover the different routes available depending on your background qualifications and experience. In video 3, I'll cover the competency statement and what's expected with a few examples to help you. In video 4, I'll cover the individual route process, which is there for those that do not have those prerequisite qualifications discussed in video 2. And in the final video, number 5, I'll cover that all-important professional review interview, which is the last step in the process. So let's get started. What is professional registration? At IAgrE, we offer registration for both engineering and for the environmental sector. For the purpose of this video, I'm only going to focus on engineering registration for the 3 different levels behind me. It is worth pointing out, though, that environmental registration follows an almost identical format. So what is professional registration? When you graduate from college or university, you gain academic qualifications, such as a BTEC diploma, a BSc or a master's degree. As you go into the workplace, you start and gain experience, knowledge and competence, which can be recognised in a professional qualification. Professional registration is an independently assessed, internationally recognised standard for competence and commitment and is regulated by the Engineering Council. Registration means you are officially registered as a practising professional engineer, as a doctor or lawyer would be in their professions. Professional engineering institutions such as IAgrE are licensed to award these qualifications through verification and assessment. You may question why get registered. Well, there are lots of reasons, and depending on the type of work you do, some will have greater value than others. These are in no particular order, but top of the list for me is that it shows you are proud of your profession and being an engineer. It shows you're proud of your achievements. You've studied and worked hard. It's an independent third-party assessment by reputable peers and stays with you as an individual, not your company. It's an international recognition of competence and commitment, not just in the UK. It enhances your status, which gives you higher self-esteem and makes you feel better about yourself. It shows you're focused on your career development, which generally results in better prospects and higher earning potential. It demonstrates a professional attitude, which is valued by employers and customers. It gives you greater influence and credibility in your organisation and industry. Being a registered professional means you can be an authorised signatory, for example, signing off technical reports. And these days, many top employers expect it. So there are plenty of reasons to do it. There are a number of different levels and grades, which can be a little overwhelming, but it's pretty straightforward. In engineering profession, there are 3 registration levels. You can see them behind me. They have different meanings and different entry requirements, which I'll come on to. People often get confused with different institution grades, such as affiliate, technician and member. These are separate on how the institution grades you as a member in their organisations, and this depends on your industry qualifications and experience specific to their sector. EngTech is the first level. It's aimed at those working at a vocational level, but can be used as a stepping stone to go on to other grades. EngTech needs a minimum of a level 3 qualification, such as a national diploma or modern apprenticeship, and now the new T-level. If you're doing an accredited engineering degree, then the first couple of years of your course will also qualify you for EngTech. A perfect example of an EngTech is someone who is a technician member of IAgrE, working as an agricultural engineering technician in a machinery dealership or manufacturer's experimental department. With higher levels of qualification and job role complexity comes the higher grades. The top level, C-Eng, requires a master's degree or an equivalent qualification and will be somebody working at a senior level in an engineering department, researching, designing and developing future equipment or processes. All these levels are covered in detail on the IAgrE or the Engineering Council's website. Now, if you have no engineering qualifications, then don't be put off. Experience very much counts. The level of experience is important though, as it needs to be at the level commensurate with the grade you are looking at. We would expect a person to have at least 10 years experience in a role, but there isn't a hard and fast rule, and we urge people to simply get in touch and we'll offer you some friendly advice. So do you think you could register? Well, you do need to be a member of IAgrE, so that's the very first step and pretty straightforward to do online. Hopefully if you're watching this, then you've already joined. The registration process is split into three main elements: formal application, formal assessment, and then a professional review interview, or PRI as we call it. The PRI isn't normally required for EngTech applications. From the previous slide, you'll see the sort of qualifications we expect, and in the case of no qualifications, that all-important career experience and learning. If you do have the necessary qualifications, then the next step is being able to meet the competency standards through your industry experience. For EngTech, we'd expect someone to have at least 2 years in a suitable role. For IEng, 3 years, and for CEng, generally 4 years plus. The competency requirements are laid out in an Engineering Council document called UK Spec, which stands for UK Standard for Professional Engineering Competence. The document is logically laid out and tells you all you need to know for the different levels. We'd also expect people to be committed to lifelong learning and enhancing their knowledge through continual professional development, or CPD as we call it. For example, training courses, reading technical journals, and attending presentations. So where do you start? Well, the best approach is to get in touch with us and send us your CV. We can then take a look and advise whether you'd initially meet the criteria and which grade would suit you and the process to follow. For the formal registration application, we'll provide you with the necessary forms and guidance notes to do this. The main element of the application is what we call the competence statement. What we ask you to do is map your skills and experience to the 5 key competency requirements laid out in UK Spec, which I'll cover later in video 3 of this series. At IAgrE, we can provide you with a mentor if you wish. Often big companies have people who will provide this function for you, but sometimes it's nice to get a different perspective from outside. It's all treated very confidentially, and what you and your mentor discuss is kept between yourselves. Mentors are great at pointing you in the right direction, helping you do your application and giving you general advice. We often refer to them as a critical friend. So how long will it take? Well, this is a very common question. Well, the filling in of the forms is of course up to you to make time to do. Most companies are supportive and will allow you time to do this, but sometimes you need to do it away from the day-to-day work pressures. To get your application right first time, it's always good to use a mentor. For a standard application, the competency statement will take the majority of time. There are 15 sections and we'd expect at least 200 to 300 words in each section, plus any necessary supporting documentation such as drawings and reports. From our side, we won't cause any delay. Once your application is received, we'll send it to 2 assessors and then they report back to the membership committee, which meet every 2 months. For IEng and CEng applications, if the committee is happy, we'll arrange the professional review interview with you and the assessors at a time that suits you. I'll cover more about the interview and how you would prepare in the final video. The interview usually lasts around 60 to 90 minutes and allows the assessors to explore your application and talk in more detail about you. Following the interview, the assessors complete their reports and feedback at the next membership committee meeting, and the decision is ratified. Shortly after this meeting, you will be informed of the outcome. The whole process generally takes around 2 to 4 months. Not everyone can achieve professional registration. After all, it is a level of competence set by the UK Engineering Council, and the standard has to be maintained. At IAgrE, if we didn't believe you could achieve registration, we would be honest with you and advise what you need to do to get there. The personal support and tailored mentoring is something we pride ourselves on. So if you fancy progressing your professional registration, then take a look at video 2, where I'll go through completing an application. If you have any questions, then get in touch with us at membership@iagree.org or give us a call on 01234 750 876. Thank you. Bye-bye.